Hi, it's Amy Mesney from Teaching Ideas for You, and I'm back with you today for a very quick video on how you can find time in your classroom to use novels and read alouds. I know that time is a crunch for teachers just in general. There's never enough time to cover everything we need to cover. The past 2 days I've covered just using novels in your classroom, and I've talked about how you can find good choices to use for your classroom. So today is a quick way of how to find time to actually use those books. So let's talk about, finding time. Again, it's going to be a real quick day today, but I think it's important to kind of think about where you can maybe massage a few extra minutes for a book, or where could you use a novel to help you support your standards and engage kids who might not otherwise be interested in your topic. Because we all know that there's kids who say, I'm just not a math kid, or I just don't like science, or oh, social studies is so boring. That's my favorite. Oh, I don't know what this has to do with me, or why do I need to know this? I'm not going to be a history teacher. Sometimes by using a novel, you can kind of get past that, because they can see in this story, and they love the story, how the topic was integrated, and then you kind of get past those questions that I think grate on teachers' nerves a lot. So what are some good times that you could use to read novels, especially read alouds? I think reading a whole book sometimes takes a lot of planning, and it has to be very intentional. If you're not teaching language arts, it can be done, but you do have to really think about how you're going to hit your standards and block that time out. Read alouds, you can find a lot of 5 minutes here and there where you can kind of work that time in. So I thought about when I've done it, and I've talked with my friends and when they've done it. So let's give you a couple ideas. During class, you just make time for it. You just say, okay, reading time, maybe you need to transition from lesson practice to something else, and you take 5 or 10 minutes to read a book. The very beginning of the day, one of my rock star teacher friends who can teach like any grade level and is always good at whatever she teaches, she said she used to like to read her novels first thing in the morning. Take attendance, get the lunch count, everything else, start with your novel. She said it was a great way to kind of calm everybody down. Then if kids are coming in late, because we always have kids who come in late, they missed a little bit of the reading, but they didn't necessarily miss some major assignment that you were, trying to go over. But she said it did a great job of just setting the tone for the day and settling the class in. So in social studies, when I taught middle school social studies, one thing that I did sometimes, if I wanted to use a book, I would get the audio book. And I will tell you, not all audiobooks are created equal. Okay. Some audio readers are amazing, and others are so boring that you can't even listen to it. My son tends to read audiobooks more, and like Harry Potter's amazing. Lord of the Flies was so dry, I couldn't even stay focused on it. So if you find an audiobook and you test it out and the reader is great, you can take your attendance, pass out your papers, collect your papers, whatever you're doing, while the audiobook is reading for those first few minutes. And it, for me, because I lose my voice a lot, it actually helped me save my voice. So, and also kids like to hear somebody else too. They do kind of get tired of us droning on. We were on block schedule, and it was a nice break for them to hear somebody other than me. So that's just a tip. You can put that audiobook on, and the kids actually really enjoy it. And it gives you time to circulate or do whatever you need to do. So just a tip. A great time if you teach elementary, after recess. They're sweaty, they're hot. Every kid wants to go get a drink or go to the bathroom because they didn't do it at recess. You sit down, you read for 10 minutes. They can go one by one to the bathroom, or however you do it. And then by the time everybody's done going to the bathroom, you've got your reading in. And again, it's kind of like when you did it at the beginning of the day. It just gets everybody back in, settles everybody back down, lets you have all those interruptions without really getting irritated that everybody's interrupting you. Another time to do it, if you, especially if you teach all your classes, like you're a teacher who teaches every subject, use it as a transition from one subject to another. It can be a pretty jarring transition for kids to just like, okay, we're done with reading, now we're doing math. And again, so if you have a time where you can take 5 or 10 minutes, it helps just kind of like shut your brain down for one subject, and then you're ready to go to the next one because you've had a little downtime. Another great time, and this is when I tended to put my read alouds, were dead spots. In upper elementary, we had like wacky dead spots sometimes. Like we go to activity and come back, and like 5 minutes later you had lunch. It's not enough time to do anything. So I would just read, or if you come in from recess, but yet you have like 10 minutes before you go to lunch or activity. Just think about all those weird times where it's not really enough time to do much else, but it's too much time to do nothing. Those are good places to work in a few minutes of your read aloud. And another time I like to use, and I don't think people often think about it, is end of the day. For the very same reason as my friend does it at the beginning of the day. It gets so crazy at the end of the day, and sometimes the kids kind of get nuts. But I like doing it at the end of a period or at the end of the day because it calms them down, and they're not just hopping all over the place or trying to, middle schoolers, like run out the door before the bell rings. So it's a good way to kind of wind things up too. And what I would do in upper elementary at the end of the day was I would call one table group at a time to pack up and then have them join me on the floor, and I would just be reading. And then when one table group was done packing up, I'd let the next ones go. So, you have to leave enough time, 10 to 15 minutes, but you could pack up and get everybody done. The kids could be filling out their planners while the other ones were getting their book bags, but it also prevents like the great rush of everybody to go get their stuff to go home. So try and look at your schedule this year and think to yourself, where could I fit? I would say 10 minutes is a good chunk of time to read. If you get too much past 10, sometimes it takes too much out of your day, especially if you're a subject area teacher where you only have a 40-minute period. But in upper elementary, I would say you're looking for a good 10 minutes. Middle school, a good 10 minutes can work. Maybe if you're an elementary teacher that teaches every subject, like 15 minutes can be nice because then you can get farther in the book. But I would look for places where you can grab a couple minutes. You might have a dead spot where you can add a few minutes, but maybe you spend 10 minutes at the beginning of the class reading. So your read aloud doesn't have to be done all at once. You can chunk it between two different parts of your day. So get creative, but putting that in there, it really helps kids relax a little bit, take their mind off some things. And it's also a great time to work in bathroom times when everybody and their brother goes to the bathroom or whatever. So I hope this helped you. I know it's kind of quick and fast, but I wanted to give you some thoughts because I know this is one of the hardest things as far as working in a book. It's just finding the time to do it. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to talk about if you want to use novel sets or like book groups, how can you find money to buy the books rather than you having to buy all the books? So if you haven't seen the first 2 sessions of these lives, you can go back and you can look at why you should use novels. And then the other one I did was how to pick a good novel. Sorry, my brain is off. But, go ahead and look at those. I do have them posted. But I hope this helped you, and I hope that you'll be back tomorrow for funding. My name, again, is Amy Mesney from Teaching Ideas for You, and you can connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, my TPT store, or my own website, which is just teachingideasforyou.com. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you again.